Hello, everybody. Scott Golden here with Golden Opportunities Coaching. Welcome to those of you who are new. Welcome back to those of you who are seasoned veterans of what we do around here. What we do around here is we discuss spiritual, psychological, and coaching-related topics, hopefully discerning them in a way that works for you, and we try to do that multiple times a day. Thank you to those of you who've been subscribing, watching. We've got a couple videos that are really exploding, which is awesome, and I thank each and every one of you for that. In any event, today we're going to talk about trust, how to know if someone is worth trusting, worth investing trust in. Trust is one of the most foundational and fundamental building blocks for any relationship, be it personal, professional, romantic, or otherwise. And so knowing if you can trust someone or not, or being able to make at least an educated hypothesis and guess, is a good thing to have, mainly because at the end of the day, if you can't trust a person, building a future with them or building a business or building any sort of relationship is, well, I wouldn't go as far as to say irrelevant. It's certainly not advisable. So there's 7 things I want to discuss here, and we'll run through these pretty quickly. The first is ultimately, are they consistent? So if a person is trustworthy, their words and actions match up, and they match up the majority of the time. Now, different people have different rules on what a majority is, but I would say at least a passing grade in school. So if that in your school was a 75, at least 3/4 of the time they match up, or at least 80% of the time they match up, whatever that passing grade is for you. But it's not a 50-50 thing. You can begin to trust through their consistent actions, and that can be about their character, that can be about the things they say they're going to do and then they follow through, that can be about how they treat others. There's a million things you can test consistency on, but consistency is at the forefront of a trustworthy person. The second is kindness, random acts of kindness. And there's a caveat to this one, which is random acts of kindness without expectation of anything in return. So a business mentor of mine, when I was a teenager, said something to me that stuck with me for nearly a quarter of a century. He said, never invest what you can't afford to lose. And so he was talking about money at the time, but throughout my life, I have applied that to other things such as time, energy, effort, focus, care, concern, emotion. If you can't afford to lose it, that is, if you can't afford for it not to go in your favor, then don't do it. And if we live that through the act of kindness, if I can't afford to take the time out to help an old lady cross the street, or let someone go ahead of me in line, or buy someone a pizza because they invited me to their... I had this happen last night. I got invited to a friend's house unexpectedly. I said, let me bring food, and we were good to go. Like, at the end of the day, it didn't matter. That the money of the pizza didn't matter. It wouldn't have mattered if it cost 10 times what it did. It wouldn't have mattered if it cost 10 cents. The act of kindness was my focus, nothing more, nothing less. And it didn't matter whether, everybody was down to have 10 slices or just one person got to eat. The act itself was its own focus. Anyway, so the next one is you can relax and be yourself with the person. You can let parts of yourself where you don't feel normally comfortable out, whether that's an insecurity, whether that's emotions that you don't normally deal with, whether that's a crazy or zany or goofy side. You can consistently and completely be yourself at any time. The next one in this line is they treat others well. So, and I would go as far as to say they treat almost everyone well unless they've been wronged. So whether it's a server at a restaurant or the cashier at the local corner store or a person on the street, even if they don't stop and help them, they treat them with respect. They make eye contact, they say a kind word, or if they're not going to say anything, they don't avoid the person. They are looking for ways to be of value to humanity as a whole. And they're doing it when no one's watching. So my litmus test for whether someone is trustworthy is I watch them interact with other people, and I purposely will put myself in situations where I'm across the room from them and I watch how they interact. I watch their body language. I watch If they smile and it looks real, I watch how much time they spend. I watch how engaged they are in listening. I people watch as a litmus test of if a person is trustworthy. But I do it when they don't know I'm watching. So I'll purposely, I might put myself behind a chair. I might be 50 feet across the room. I might be in another conversation, but glancing at them out of the corner of my eye for 30 seconds. The idea is, does their character hold up when they don't think I'm watching? That matters a great deal to me. The next thing is, are they honest? So, honesty is one of those really tricky things because, as the movie Liar Liar by Jim Carrey taught us, I don't think we live in a world where 100% honesty is something that the average person could handle. Yes, you look fat in those pair of jeans, but I love you anyway. It's not nearly as complimentary as, no, you look fine, you look great, they look wonderful on you. And so at some level, I think we all tell white lies in order to engage in social normalcy and in the benefit of just being able to coexist with other human beings. However, when it matters, they're honest. And so if they think you're in danger, if they think you're being a butthead, if they have a differing opinion, if they can't do something, they don't overpromise. So honesty is at the center. And while it's difficult to gauge, you would say you can begin to trust that what they're saying to you is honest because it's proven to be true over time. And you also can look at the litany of things people say and say, well, I found this to be true, and 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 you want that to be in the 90th, 95th percentile. You want to know that, no, they're not being 100% honest with you 100% of the time unless they're a saint, but I have no reason to believe on any level that a person is being dishonest with me. So the next thing, and second to last thing, is accountability. So they will keep their word, and when they can't keep their word, they give an honest accounting as to why. If something changes, they tell you why. They communicate clearly. When they are unable to keep their word, they find ways through the course of a conversation to keep their word at a later date. So let's say I was supposed to go somewhere with somebody today, and I say, hey, can you give me a ride? And they say, yes. And then something comes up, and they call me, and they say, I'm sorry, I can't make it. It doesn't end there. An accountable person says, I'm sorry I can't make it, but we could do this on Tuesday. I'm sorry I can't make it, but I'll try and help you find somebody else. I'm sorry I can't make it, but maybe I can give you money for a bus pass. They're going to make right the fact that they broke their word. Everybody breaks their word. Almost everybody breaks their word upon occasion. The least amount of times is preferable, but it happens. Life circumstances happen to where we can't always 100% of the time keep our word, but follow through, which is my final point, is the focus of the relationship. So you begin to trust by watching somebody do as they say they're going to do, act in accordance with their core value system consistently, and always focus on, I'm not going to say something and then not do it. When a person says something and they don't do it once, okay, that's unfortunate. Things happen. When they do it twice, maybe it's an anomaly. They're having a rough go. By the third time someone doesn't keep their word on something meaningful, they shouldn't be a part of your life because it's a pattern of distrust. And a pattern of distrust eventually will lead to resentment. It'll lead to anger. It'll lead to frustration and all sorts of other things. Now, there are people who will say, well, what about family? What about a partner? What about a marital person? You know what your boundaries are. And if they've broken your trust on 3 or more occasions, get out of there. It doesn't matter who they are, because the relationship is already dead. It's already done. You're just prolonging. It's like sleeping next to a corpse. Sooner or later, it's going to stink. Sooner or later, people are going to notice. You're not in a situation where the trust is going to be rebuilt, because every time you start to rebuild it brick by brick, moment by moment, somebody comes along and the same person will break it again with their dishonesty and distrust and counterproductive behavior. So hopefully this is helpful. We'll be back with more content tomorrow, but until then, Keep your feet on the ground, your mind in the moment. If there's an audio you'd like to hear, please feel free to either drop a message in the YouTube inbox or comment below, and or follow me on Twitter at POPerception. One way or another, we'll get that done for you within a couple of days. Until next time, keep your feet on the ground, your mind in the moment.